Hey everyone, welcome to the new video. And in this video, we will discuss about the cloud, the new normal. I'm Krish. You can check my LinkedIn profile for more information. And today we will be discussing about how this cloud computing changed and how the cloud adoption happened after the COVID pandemic. And basically how this cloud can help us in many strategies in this cloud or after this COVID pandemic. Okay, that's it. You all know that team, the outbreak of this COVID pandemic or the novel coronavirus disease happened in 2019 end, and from 2020 it started affecting a lot of countries, like nearly 215 countries worldwide, and now it's basically the biggest pandemic the world ever seen actually. So, accelerated by this COVID-19 pandemic, the cloud is one of the business tools that has suddenly become an essential infrastructure. See, definitely we all know that like after this cloud pandemic, basically what happens is this COVID pandemic, what happens is that the working from home is becoming the new normal. Like people is not able to travel anywhere, or most people have to stay home because of a lot of safety reasons. So after this thing, what happens is that the cloud technology has become an actual business enabler. See, it's hard to imagine that the employee is working effectively without it nowadays. Why? Because see, you want to connect your office network, you want to deploy servers, or you want to utilize the servers, you want to basically deploy new storage devices, you want to store your data, you want to continue your business operations. So because of all these reasons, the cloud computing has basically pushed a long way, and nowadays it's a very important business tool, especially after this COVID pandemic. And basically, in my understanding, team, what happened was after this COVID pandemic, the usage of cloud computing has risen up to 19 percentage actually. So it's getting in demand very much. And also the cloud is providing a lot of very interesting features like scalability, availability, security for the business applications and all. And that's how this cloud is now bringing the organizations to the new heights. So let's discuss about a few things regarding this demand for this cloud transformation. See, definitely what happens is now people start working from home and basically companies don't want to invest on their infrastructure. If you go to a cloud platform, the biggest advantage we have is we can reduce a lot of human resource. As an organizational perspective, we can reduce a lot of human resource. So how can it help actually? Like for example, let's say we have some data centers or we basically have some infrastructure in our case. And that infrastructure is basically working 24/7. If I'm basically going for an on-premise infrastructure, we need people for managing it, maintaining it, for physical security, for development, for deployment, for a lot of things. We need a lot of people on that particular area. But at the same time, if you go to a cloud platform, as it's completely managed by a cloud service provider, and we are basically sharing the infra with multiple customers, we can reduce the human resource up to a very large extent. And the next most important advantage we have is the biggest challenge in the on-premise is that if you have an increased cost of management and all the challenges there in the on-premises, but when you go to the cloud platform, this cost is completely converting from your capital expense to something which we call as a operating expense. Like I can give an example for that. So if you're planning to build a data center in your on-premises, what we basically do is we have to invest a huge amount of money. Maybe you have to invest a lot of money for doing that. But at the same time, if you go to the cloud platform, this whole cost can be cut off, and basically we can pay for how much we are consuming, and that also in a very easy provisioning. So basically the cloud has reduced the cost of management and other requirements because it's basically working on a pay as you go model. And of course the companies don't want to focus on a lot of things in the cloud. I mean in the on-premises actually. I can give an example. See, I am a company which is working mostly in a particular sector or particular area of business. If I go for managing or maintaining a cloud infrastructure, what happens there is the whole infrastructure can basically make me in trouble because I have to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort on managing that particular infrastructure. But at the same time, when I'm going to the cloud platform, what happens there? I'm just consuming the infra which is basically provisioned or basically provided by a provider called as a cloud service provider. So things are more easier for me. The next and the most important thing which I felt is the team resilience and availability of services. See, let's say for example, I'm having an infrastructure. See, end of the day, what matters to a business? For a business, what matters is their customers. And for customers, what matters? The quality of service. See, no customer will ask you how what happened there. Customers want to know what exactly you're getting there, right? What exactly they are getting there. So basically, what happens is that for a business continuity perspective, you need to have a multiple infrastructure for a business continuity and disaster recovery. So basically, what happens as the cloud is having a global footprint, and basically they are having multiple data centers located worldwide. So even if a particular location goes down without even a single second of impact, you can continue your operation from the other location, thereby providing a very high resiliency and availability of services. And the next thing is that increased business demand for new services. Like I can give an example for that. See, with the pandemic is changing the consumer behavior and the way the consumers start spending for a lot of things like that, like way of living and all. What happens? Companies are looking to add more products and services to their portfolio, right? So what happens? The cloud with its faster provisioning and elasticity can help the enterprises roll out new applications very faster and experiment with the new business models and all. So basically what happens, they can basically test a lot of things, they can basically deploy a lot of things with minimal cost. And because the cloud is having an ability to quickly meet the business demands, that is how the cloud is now a key factor, or that is now the cloud is basically becoming a key driver for a business strategy. And we have a lot of leading cloud providers in the market offering AI, means artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data. Like we are offering us a wide variety of solutions for a various kind of requirements. And the next one is team, we have a focus on data security, or I can say an enhanced focus on data security. See, basically what happens is definitely when you talk about the cloud platform, people are concerned about the data security. Of course, definitely cloud is something where you have to be concerned about data security. But thankfully over these years, what happens is team, the leading cloud providers have basically, make up their infrastructure to basically have a better security posture. And the enterprises are realizing that the cloud computing is now far more secure than the traditional computing scenarios. And of course, the rising cost of data center operations and the alarming changes in the data breach and all. So basically what happens, like we have a lot of data breach, theft, like data loss, a lot of things like that. But now what happens is, because the cloud is having a lot of mechanisms which we can prevent it and we can implement for that, now that is how the cloud is becoming a very important preference for many organizations. Like even most cloud systems deploy multiple layers of security, or we can have an app-based authentication, we can have a data stored in multiple locations, and we can have a protection against hardware failure, corruption, and it can offer me some third-party solutions. Like the cloud is now getting a lot of things in that particular thing. And as per the Gartner, basically now there is a 33.3 or 33.5%, I guess, increase in the usage of cloud security in this last year, like 2020 actually. So end of the day, what happens is cloud is basically bringing us a lot of advantages when we compare to the on-premises existing infrastructure. And now, how the cloud is helping? First of all, as we discussed, team, you're not paying for it much. Like for example, now I'm telling you, team, please create a AWS account or create a Azure account or create a OCI account. It's something which you can do it free of cost. So there is no capital expense for you for deploying anything in the cloud platform, or it's up to near zero. But at the same time, when you go for a running cost, or we can call it as an operating expense, in the running cost, what happens is you are just paying for what exactly you're consuming. And as you're only paying for what you're consuming, the operating cost can be very much reduced. And also we can have a track of what all things we are doing, and we can basically optimize it every year. And the next and the most important thing is that I want to discuss about agility first of all. Like now we have a business, and the business is currently having a particular kind of products in the market. Every year or maybe after every months or every years, the business is trying to push into a lot of new fields or new industries and all. So basically what happens, they want to have an infrastructure which is completely agile. They want to have an infra which is a complete flexible and agile to meet with their particular changing business demands. That's how the companies are basically going to the cloud platform. And of course, team, there is a word called a scalability. So based on your changing business demands, the infra is able to increase or decrease based on your business requirements. That's how we call it as a scalability there. And as we discussed before, as the cloud is having a proper BCDR strategy, or we can say that the cloud is having a proper resiliency there. So because of that reason, what happens, team, we can basically have a proper trust on the cloud platform that if we deploy the things properly in the cloud, it can make sure that our operations can continue or our business can continue without any kind of delay. And of course, the last point is a bit controversial, like improved security. But as we discussed before, definitely security matters. But what happens now? The cloud providers are offering the very best solutions in the world for securing your data and all. So the only thing is that as a cloud customer or basically as an enterprise, our job is to ensure that we choose the proper solutions, proper cloud providers, or basically the proper cloud technologies to adopt to our security requirements. Like for example, I'm having an organization or basically I work as a part of organization and I'm having some business requirements. Let's say I have to comply with the HIPAA or I have to comply with the TCDSS. As the cloud is completely having a proper, security options there and the cloud provider is also complying with all these things, it's much more easier for us to implement the security controls as needed for our compliance requirements. And that's how the cloud is basically helping us, team. And nowadays the cloud is growing in a lightning speed and new things are adding up to it. Like it's not like the same thing you used to see some 10 years back. Every day the cloud is changing. The cloud is adding up new things. And the cloud is adopting to the new changing business demands. So let's talk about this more in the next videos, team. Thank you so much. Bye.